Thank you, Ken. I don't think Mayor Krause needs much of an introduction, but I have a very short one here. St. Albert's Mayor Nolan Krause is a native Albertan who spent 30 years in forest products in Alberta and Pennsylvania in tissue, pulp, lumber, fiberboard, straw board, and wood packaging. Nolan is delivering his 9th State of the City address as St. Albert's Mayor, and he's also beginning his 5th year as Chair of the Capital Region Board. He and his wife Gwen have 3 adult children, all living in St. Albert, plus 3 grandchildren. Please welcome Mayor Nolan Krause.
St. Albert is in a good spot. Bonjour, good day. Message of this speech is community stability. First, some thanks, and then I'm going to talk about community safety, social pillar, environmental, and economic development progress. Then some budget highlights. Finally, some regional matters over the next 25 minutes or so. Welcome, and I'm proud to be here today, and feel free to follow along on some slides on your iPhone, iPad, etc. if you've downloaded the entire app. Although the speech is independent of slides, so don't worry about the screens or your iPad because it's completely independent. I thank the Chamber for providing this opportunity and to Fortis as our meeting sponsor. I thank our youth, the seniors, the families, the businesses for continuing the community building that we're all proud of. I thank my colleagues, Councillors Broadhead, Heron, Hughes, McKay, Osborne, and Russell for their service, many who are out of town today. I thank the region, the province, the federal government, the service clubs, and the school systems who collectively help build our community. And we thank the uniformed personnel, many of whom live here, who will provide peace, safety, security, protection, and freedom. Chair Ken McCrae, I'm pleased that you have introduced the provincial, federal, school board, and regional representatives. Thanks to all of you for your public service. And on behalf of the entire community, thank you to our city staff under the leadership of our city manager, Patrick Draper. And thanks to my wife for her support during my time in office. Chamber board, members, chamber staff, thank you. Some context as I begin my talk. Last year, I shared from a Gallup poll that there were 3 drivers important as fundamentals to Canadian urban life. 1, the community should make you feel safe, comfortable, and welcoming. 2, social comfort where people can feel and meet and socialize and feel community. 3, an attractive community needs parks, green spaces, public art, tree-lined streets, and safe trails. Safety first. Following a sad year of 6 fatalities in 2013, we had 1 fatality in 14 and none in 15. Frankly, having a conversation with a grieving family following a fatality is the saddest part of my job. A tribute to the city staff for implementing many engineering, education, and enforcement solutions. And 30 schools in our community deserve credit for the safe journeys to school evaluations, and $836,000 in capital is budgeted in 2016 to make further progress around schools. And many traffic safety actions have been taken, and as such, injury accidents have plunged from 192 in 2013 to under 100 in 2015. Fewer accidents means a lower probability of a fatality. And under the radar, and no pun intended, St. Albert took over the #1 spot in Alberta in the lowest crime metrics, surpassing Beaumont and Chestermere for the lowest urban crime rates of large urbans in Alberta. 3 quick metrics. Crime Severity Index compared to other cities in Alberta measures how severe the crime is as reported by Stats Canada. St. Albert crime severity is 39, compared to Alberta at 86, Edmonton at 97, or Grand Prairie at 173. Criminal code violations per 1,000 population is half that of the rest of Alberta. Again, the best in Alberta. Criminal code violations per 1,000 population, St. Albert's at 40, Alberta at 71, Red Deer at 153. Crime is cut in half from 4 years ago. And we continue to add more police officers to serve us all. Today we have about 60 RCMP members. Safety-wise, we are in an enviable position. Now, community building, or the social pillar. I say continuously that cities are not structures, cities are people, and people want to be in social places to make it feel like a home. It manifests itself in our ongoing commitment to social gathering and nurturing new events that I have spoken of in the past, and expanding some of the long-standing favorites such as the Farmers Market and Rock in August. And much community building is done by service clubs, such as the two Rotary clubs who have just celebrated 15 and 25-year anniversaries respectively, or like youth clubs. Girl Guides are 60 years in St. Albert in 2016. Or like the curling and tennis clubs, who have gone from under 10 registered youth in their programs 2 years ago to now 100 in each program. All that is community building. In 2015, 102 block parties saw the community draw 5,000 residents together in that fashion. And a community organization led an initiative for beds for the terminally ill, and the province has committed to fund 10 new hospice beds at Foyer Lacombe. Council's commitment to cultivating a historical, creative, and active community plays out as we have given approval to a youth festival, an outdoor music festival, and a family comic festival, all 5-year commitments. That's community building. Council has provided support to the school systems, the community's largest employer, by the way, with 2 new schools already under construction and 2 more in Jensen Lakes under planning. Where we live should invoke passion, civic patriotism, and a love for our community that's never quite forgotten. There is a vibe to a good community, a feeling you get. We get energized, enthused, and excited. Sometimes we are mesmerized by the beauty or the appeal of a community, its people, its aura, or its natural environment. Good communities exude intensity, fervor that inspire and attract. Our community should arouse us. If it appeals to our spirit, then likely we'll get involved in its activities. All of that describes St. Albert. And it's for these reasons Council has decided to continue investing in 2 more community gathering places, another arena and a branch library. These facilities need to make us want to go there, wanting to gather. Anything short of a vision of great places will shortchange how we build our community. Excellence in the social pillar is never elitism. St. Albert is a sparkling place and getting better, and I will just leave it at that. Within the environmental pillar, Council's statement is we will cultivate a green community. We're doing an upgrade of another one of our 35 stormwater pipes that drain stormwater into the river. We continue to offer low-flush toilet grants, and we begin air quality monitoring in 2016. Utility management is key to the environment, and I'd like to address the topic of utility rates, water, sewer, and garbage. While the utility rates were historically amongst the lowest in the region, there was not enough money being collected for maintenance. We had choices to raise taxes, go into debt, or raise utility rates. 2015 saw a large increase, but 2016 will see a minor $2 per month reduction in utility rates, but I assure you now that there's enough money in the kitty to fund utilities ongoing. But we were running out of money, contrary to what you may have heard. The future decades are now more sustainable financially with the current policy, although still fed by $1 million a year of federal money. In other environmental news, after an aggressive 10 years, the condition of missing, damaged, diseased, and dead trees is nearly caught up after a big backlog. Progress by Public Works has been remarkable. Council's provided funds to help tackle the daunting battle of black knot disease on public property as well. And an additional $250,000 is budgeted in 2016 to add trees where they're badly needed, maybe even helping out with carbon tax credits. Missing trees have gone from 1,300 to now only 150 over the past 8 years. The next frontier for trees is in the areas such as Deer Ridge, where many trees in front of houses need replacing. Our urban forest is one asset that sets us apart from most urbans in Canada. Our green spaces are 7 times the Canadian urban average, and a key component of the vision further being communicated in 2016. You will see also a new program whereby during one day in 2016 you can put your large household items at your curbside and the city will collect them. Assuming, of course, someone who likes your junk better than you doesn't pick it up first. We will continue to explore options of creative building forms and community greening initiatives that are new, bold, and creative. More on that as it unfolds. And you will see some features along the extended St. Anne Street that are uniquely environmentally advanced. We have also ordered 3 electric buses. A busy year ahead in the environment. Now the third pillar, that of economic development. Our strategic plan states that we are to cultivate economic prosperity. First, a couple pieces of data. Housing starts. 2010 to 2015 averaged 200 single-family housing starts, and the 50-year average has been about 300 new houses. That was down to 163 in 2015. Population growth, however, has been consistent for about 50 straight years, or about 1,000 population increase per year over that time. And that didn't change in 2015, even in a slower economy. And it likely won't change much in 16, 1,000 new residents again. But we're seeing a shift from single-family homes to multifamily homes. So single-family has declined and multifamily has increased, keeping us at that 1,000 population increase, albeit with a different housing mix. Fewer single-family and more multis, such as apartments and condos. We also have about 545 vacant residential lots in St. Albert, pretty typical over the last 10-year average. Building permit values, a total of all permits, were up 9% to a highest record ever, $220 million in 2015, compared to $205 million in 14. 2016 looks to be another solid year, even though we know the challenges in the economy. I don't see any metrics to suggest any St. Albert concerns in 2016, and that bodes well for business, solid growth, and no boom, no bust ahead. Assessment rose by 3.3% in 2015. We're projecting a 2.8% increase for 16. And the number of businesses operating in St. Albert now sits at 3,245, up 30% over the past decade. Regarding undeveloped non-residential land, 6 hectares, or about 15 acres, were developed in 2015, leaving 568 hectares of undeveloped non-res land in St. Albert. Overall, 2016 looks solid. 17 is perhaps more uncertain. North Riel Business Park is essentially full with very little non-res room left to develop Old Riel. Campbell Park is also essentially full, so with only modest development left there. As we speak, there are only about 50 vacant non-residential lots in St. Albert. AGLC and the vacant lands around the Apex Casino will be the biggest area of activity in 2016 in Campbell. Commercial development to the north on the trail will continue to see solid non-res growth in 16. Now, development in the southwest St. Albert and to the west is hampered by sewer capacity. Council will need to decide how to support development to the west and southwest if there are significant financial resources required to build a sanitary sewer, a project called Project Number 9. This is about a $40 million project to install a good old-fashioned sewer line to allow capacity to help spur development. If the city pays for it up front, the city would collect that money back in what's called levies from developers. If the city were to do this so-called front-ending, it may spur development. Doing nothing could result in stalled development. Doing it all puts money at risk. So this is a risk-reward situation. The economy could weaken, developers could take advantage of the opportunity and flip their land if council raises expectations. Or they could sit after the city spent the money. Worst case is that we spend the money and no development occurs. But council has decided to advance this project forward for a firm decision, and staff will bring a financial proposal in the next few weeks. With St. Albert Trail developed north to Erin Ridge Shopping Centre on the east and to the Smart Centre on the west, Melcor is planning commercial to the north of the Smart Centre. Landrex now owns the King of Kings Church land on the east side, and Cameron Developments will continue to develop the Erin Ridge Shopping Centre with Costco as the anchor. Developing that area will occur over the next few years. We must be grateful to Landrex, Cameron, and Melcor. We're also grateful to the new property owners of Sidex, Cape, and Averton for purchasing significant land holdings in our community. Purchases around the Enjoy Centre in Ville-Giroux west of Fire Hall 3 join Great West land holdings just off the Henday, south of the Enjoy Centre. We're also grateful to the St. Albert Centre for continuing to invest in their mall. Even with the loss of Target, mall sales productivity improved 1% in 15 over 14. Congratulations. You're also seeing the condo walls going up where the old Grandin Mall Parkade was. We're seeing the old Hole site filling up quickly as the new owners have 30 stores and the condos are getting ready for occupancy beginning in July. New housing will be seen in the following areas. Sidex, west of Fire Hall 3, has multis going up already. Botanica at the old Hole site is under construction. Amacon, the old Grandin Mall, has walls rising. Riverside, new houses west of Lacombe Lake are under construction. Erin Ridge, east of Erin Ridge Shopping Centre. Erin Ridge, east of King of Kings Church. Melcor's Jensen Lakes lands, west of Smart Centre, is building houses. Oakmont Homes by Sarasota. Oakmont has homes being built by Sarasota. Sarasota, our largest home builder in 2015. Genstar's Lacombe Estates, east of Ray Gibbon, and houses at where Averton, possibly east of where we sit today, may move forward. And possible development next to Canadian Tire, the Lion site has been purchased by a new group. So a diversity of housing locations and type bodes well for prices, supply, and for builders. You should be pleased that while the housing prices have declined throughout the province, St. Albert's prices have increased by 2%. And the Real Estate Investment Network said this about St. Albert, quote, long thought of as a satellite of Edmonton, St. Albert is poised to be the biggest benefactor of the new Edmonton Ring Road. The transportation access improvement is completed. The city will begin to experience a flood of not only new residents, but also the relocation of companies and jobs in town. Other attributes of the city include consistently low vacancy rates, high rents, and high property value increases. It also helps that the city has turned itself into a major retail center for the northern region while adding to its industrial and commercial job base, end of quote. So development will be solid in all sectors, housing, commercial, and light industrial. No boom, no bust. To assist economic development, council has heard from staff the results of the work done in turning red tape into green tape at City Hall. A review of administrative processes and changes continue to be made. I commend city staff on tremendous progress in the last 5 years. That review takes us to being leaders in the province. The Chamber used to share real concerns. Much, although not all issues, have been resolved. Whether they be legal, planning, engineering, or zoning, council barriers, permits, staff shortages, and more, all that required reviewing, and the Chamber Board advocacy helped in this progress. Again, the biggest economic development challenge we face is a sewer line. Also needed for the employment lands, 1,617 acres. This is the next Riel Park, the next Campbell Park, or the next something park. We don't have a name yet, that will come. Today, this area has many landowners unwilling or unable to develop at this time. Today, it's an undefined employment park. It's an unserviced park. Today, it's barley fields. I call it Venture Park. We need V's anyway, and it's a fitting name for our vision. So far, council has provided support to clarify the vision for this area and has provided $2 million for that sewer line design. Ray Gibbon Drive is the only link to that area, a road that the province will have the responsibility for, and we continue to advocate for its widening. Over the past 10 years, the value of lands around Ray Gibbon has increased substantially since Ray Gibbon was built. But there's been little tax revenue returned since building that road, and only modest signals of development is being contemplated further west. Economic development innovation will require bringing landowners west of Ray Gibbon to the table who are willing to invest. Some budget comments and then some regional comments. For those in the maintenance business, road repair budget will remain the same as 15 and continue in the $10 million range. The sidewalk program will be aggressive, including adding sidewalks on both sides of St. Albert Trail and upgrading bus stops all over the city. 2016 sees an aggressive neighborhood sidewalk program. $9 million of water and sewer maintenance is planned, some of that work in the downtown, targeted at mitigating flood potential in the Prawn District, which will be the biggest benefiting area, a good news story for downtown chamber members. Sports fields, parks, and basic repairs of buildings and facilities remain fairly constant in 16 compared to 15. And new development is keeping pace for additional staff to service more kilometers of roads, to do more inspections. There are more parks to mow, more bus routes to service, basically keeping up with 1,000 residents this year. We will construct a new $3 million building in Riel Park, another amenity to help host games and events, bringing more visitors to our city. And thanks to the Chamber for taking on the visitor information role for our community. The extension of St. Anne Street from St. Thomas to where the airplane used to be will open in 16. This is exciting as it sets the stage for an expanded farmers market, a bigger children's festival, and a bigger rock in August and more, growing the opportunity for more community gathering. While another arena and branch library are officially in the works, location and land are the two next steps. The 50 Plus Club is seeing a facelift and will reopen this fall, important for the gathering of older residents, but will also be a great venue for weddings, conferences, and likely chamber lunches, seating up to 250 people. The airplane, by the way, will be reinstalled in a new location near the Legion. And a healing garden area will begin along the river as a marking of the truth and reconciliation work Canada embarks upon. I thank my wife for her leadership role there. Investment in cultural amenities and events continues with planning the next phase of Grain Elevator Park and growing the Mayor's Arts Awards program this year in early March. All of this should be exciting for the community and for chamber members. Some of this is your bread and butter. It also means more customers for some. For public transit, back in 2010, the city made a commitment of $30 million to build a park and ride near the Henday. The province has released the land. Edmonton has given us approval to purchase the land. This is the north end of the Edmonton LRT line, and we can now purchase this land from the province for $6 million. Most of you will remember this is the land where the Newman College was. Edmonton and St. Albert now have to do a park and ride agreement, which has many challenges to pull that off. Then St. Albert constructs. The stars may be lining up, but we have a long ways to go. This has aged me. Now, corporately, we are in outstanding shape. One of the lowest debt per capita cities within the entire province. For example, debt balance at the end of 16 will be at about 40 million, down from 72 million 7 years ago. Money in reserves, much is earmarked for future projects, is about 75 million. A very solid and enviable position, meaning there's money in savings to do what we say we're going to do. Reserves or savings sat at $30 million 10 years ago. Today, almost triple. Additionally, we are closing 2015 with a year-end surplus of $5.2 million. And the trend of a better non-res to residential tax split has reached 86-14. This has moved from 91-9 and getting ever so close to 80-20. Municipal taxes are going up only $6 for a typical $4,000 home, from $3,052 to $3,058. For a business, your taxes are smack in the middle compared to the rest of the province. A business property assessed at $1 million in St. Albert pays 10,500 taxes in St. Albert, Edmonton 15,000, Lethbridge 18,000, Strathcona 8,500. I also note that the city receives about $16 million per year in provincial grants and $3 million a year in federal funds. My final comments before I speak regionally. School systems continue to be ranked amongst the best in Alberta in all categories, and the city helps the schools where it can, with RCMP resources, family community support services, safe journeys to school initiatives, and new school sites. Outside developer interest in St. Albert is solid, and the willing developers who invested in our community are here after us bringing certainty and optimism. And we have also decided to get into the clear leader position in the province in snow removal. Now we will plow and grade even more than in the past, if it ever snows. Now, of course, we have social challenges, as the community village having to help 15 individuals living homeless in the rough. We have a list of numerous social challenges, such as mental health, youth engagement, and an aging population, all which garner our attention. I always believe people need to have a sense of if the ground is stable or not. What I have shared is that the ground continues to be very stable in St. Albert, at least for 2016. This is not intended to be simply political sunshine. It's the truth. Corporately, financially, community-wise, we're poised to have a solid 2016. Finally, regionally, my regional colleagues, many who are in this room, have been given me the unique responsibility to continue as board chair within a region that is growing at the rate of 28,000 people per year. In a region where the number of farms is declining and the regional population is growing at a rate of 250,000 per decade, there is a need for progressive planning. Whether it be farm produce, urban sprawl, traffic, we are all connected. We were even connected recently by the Eskimos. The Capital Region Board works tremendously hard at matters such as regional roads, regional transit, affordable housing, seniors housing, land planning, geographic information systems, and some economic development. Whether it be through small nodes of sub-regional planning for seniors housing or the future of the Villeneuve Airport, it all requires diplomacy and collaboration. And locally, we've begun a collaborative approach to annexing lands from Edmonton, uncontested. And folks, our sub-region, it continues to function better than ever, and credit to so many. Mayor Tom Flynn, both councils, and all administrations we thank. We've also just agreed with Sturgeon County to review our boundaries collaboratively. In the Capital Region as a whole, we should have challenges. If we all agreed on everything, there would be no creativity. We've had a lot more agreements than disagreements in the past several years. So I assure you that the region and this sub-region are also very solid. Ladies and gentlemen, I've covered safety, a community of envy. I've covered a social pillar, I've covered the environmental pillar, and the economic pillar, the three pillars of the triple bottom line. I've captured some key strategies, and I've spoken about the great work regionally. I've hit budget highlights, and I hope I've left you with a sense of comfort and optimism in 2016. I've painted a picture of a spirit of collaboration and optimism with, I believe, a dose of realism. St. Albert is in a good position regionally. Sturgeon and St. Albert are in a great diplomatic position sub-regionally, and our joint strategies are working. St. Albert's relationship with Edmonton, the entire region, as well as the business community, are as solid as they've ever been. Corporate financial health is splendid, and staff lead with professionalism at all times to serve others. We are in a good spot. And on behalf of your council, I feel proud to stand in front of you and indeed say to our entire community that we are in a good spot. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.